to notice that I was beginning to have a weight issue, which I struggled with all my life since childhood. But the issue really became after I lost my father 7 years ago. And when he passed 5 months later, May 29th, I was rushed to ER. My body had blew up with 32 pounds worth of excess fluid and ended up with congestive heart failure. I had to be resuscitated twice. And on the third time, the team came in and said, did I want to be resuscitated for the third time? Because it was looking as I was going to die, but I looked at them and said I didn't feel like I was dying. So after they treated me for a while and I was released to go home, I began to look over my life and recognize it was time for me to take charge and begin to let things go that had happened in my past so that I could begin to live again. So I began to do different research. I was crazy enough to take a class by Debbie at Fitness Point about exercise and becoming a personal trainer. So I began to do that. I took the class in 2010. Had got down from 450 to 367, and I took her class, passed the class, and began to think about the different research. Wasn't looking for bariatric surgery. After taking Debbie's class, they was talking about weight loss surgery. I just took the class for information. Was getting ready to go to a conference in July. And I said, I'm going to send in this paperwork, and if it's meant for me to have the surgery, they'll approve the paperwork. So I sent it in. So before I got ready to go to the conference, a week before, they sent me the paperwork back and said I was approved to be a candidate for the surgery. And I was like, okay, this is really scary. You know, this is not what I was really trying to do, but I did it anyway. In the beginning, before I even thought about surgery or anything, I was on over 12 meds, 2 inhalers, and by the time I started going through the process, my meds began to decrease. So after I had passed Dr. Shamsi's 6 months boot camp, I called it, he was like, well, it's time for me to release you and you can decide if you want to have the surgery or continue with me. And I consented to have the surgery and met with Dr. Standish. Day came April 18th. Never forget it. It was my son's 16th birthday, and we all met up at the hospital, and they thought the surgery would be long because I had to have the bariatric surgery along with gallbladder removal. So he thought it was going to be a recovery long, surgery long, and he found out that everything went fast, and it blew his mind how fast everything went. He said, well, I'm through with surgery. She's going to be coming out of recovery. And before you know, a couple hours later, after they got me in my room, 3 hours later, they were up there taking me and walking me up and down the hall. And you know, I would tell anybody, surgery might not be your option, but if you get to where you have yo-yoed all your life and everything else fails, I think that you should consider it, go through Shamsi, Dr. Shamsi and Dr. Standish, and go through the process. They're a great team. They have a great team of nurses, nutritionists, dietitians that will work with you and help you meet your goal. And I've never found such a good group of people that when you go in there, you don't have white coat syndrome. You can go in there and be relaxed and don't have to worry about your pressure going up because you hear the negative, you're large, but when you go in there, they never talk about your weight. They deal with the issue to help you overcome the weight issue so that you can live a normal and a healthy life.